Why are you doing this to us?
A homeless little girl walked into a billionaire bank just to check her balance. But when the screen loaded, everyone froze, even the richest man in the room. No one expected a child covered in dust to hold a secret fortune that could change her entire life. On a sunny but cold morning in the middle of the city's business area, where tall glass buildings reached up to the sky and fancy cars drove smoothly down shiny streets, a little girl with dirty cheeks and sleepy eyes pushed open the huge doors of the Grand Crest Bank. Her name was Maya Anderson, and her small hands held tightly onto an old worn-out card the same way someone holds onto the last bit of hope they have left in the world. Sunlight came pouring through the tall windows, but even with all that bright light, Maya looked like a shadow, weak, shaking, and very out of place among the smooth marble floors and tall columns. And as she walked forward, people turned their heads, not because they cared, but because they were confused, surprised, and a little bit judgmental. All she wanted was something simple. She wanted to check how much money she had. If you believe kindness can change someone's life, and if you believe in second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us spread more light in a world that really needs it. Maya's trip to that bank had not started with bravery. It had started because she was desperate. She had spent the last 2 days walking around the city with only a few coins in her pocket, wearing a ripped gray shirt and jeans that were too small for her. Her mother had always told her before she died to keep the little white bank card safe. Maya had held on to it for years, never knowing if it was important. She only knew that today, with hunger bothering her stomach and strangers staying away from her on the sidewalks. She was finally ready to see if the card was worth anything at all, if her mother had left her a miracle or nothing at all. The bank was full of noise and excitement that Maya had never seen before. Computer screens showed numbers and stock charts. Workers in nice suits rushed past each other, carrying folders and coffee cups. Phones rang all the time. Every corner was glowing with wealth. And in the middle of all this power sat Benjamin Carter, one of the richest investment businessmen in the city. His laughter filled the air, echoing across the floor as he talked with his advisors. He was a man who was used to winning, used to power, and used to being untouchable. Nothing normal ever bothered him. But then he noticed Maya. She stood at the customer service desk, shyly sliding her card forward. The banker behind the counter, Sarah Martinez, froze when she saw the girl's condition. People were staring, some because they were worried, many because they were shocked, and a few because they were annoyed. Maya's voice was so quiet you could barely hear it as she explained what she needed. Sarah gave her a soft smile and gently guided her toward Benjamin's section because his special computer terminal could look up really old account records. Maya didn't know this. She only followed because she wanted to finally know if she had anything left in this world. Benjamin watched her come closer with mild amusement. He thought this was some publicity stunt or maybe a mistake. He leaned back in his seat, chuckling quietly as the little girl walked up to the counter. With a quick movement, she handed him the card, an old, faded debit card that had seen better days. Benjamin shook his head at how ridiculous it all seemed. A billionaire being asked to check a homeless child's bank balance. The whole thing was so strange that he couldn't help the smirk growing on his face. But Maya wasn't laughing. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes looked nervously around the big room, noticing every judgmental stare. She just wanted answers, just one moment of truth. The room seemed to get quiet as Benjamin put the card into the screen. Then everything changed. Benjamin's smile dropped immediately. His eyebrows slowly came together. He leaned forward, reading the numbers on the screen again as if they might change into something that made more sense. His advisor stepped closer, their faces changing from curiosity to shock. Sarah held her breath. The balance on the screen wasn't empty. It wasn't small. It wasn't normal for someone like Maya. It was huge. Maya's mother had once worked at a small community center where she met a kind entrepreneur named Victor Hayes. He had no children, was getting old, and was grateful to Maya's mother for taking care of him in his final months. Without Maya or her mother knowing, Victor had created a trust fund in Maya's name, a fund that grew year by year, untouched, building up interest and investments that Victor had set to continue even after he died. He had hoped one day that Maya would find it when she needed it the most, and today was that day. Benjamin stared at the number, realizing that the girl standing in front of him was not just a child in need. She was one of the wealthiest people he had ever met, wealth that she didn't even know existed, wealth that could change her life forever. For the first time in years, Benjamin felt humbled, completely, totally silenced. The girl he had laughed at was now the owner of a fortune that was bigger than even some of his clients. The room watched as he stood up slowly from his chair, looking at Maya, not with pity anymore, but with respect, a respect she had earned without even knowing it. Maya, however, didn't understand the number on the screen. She only knew that Benjamin suddenly looked different, less amused, more human. Sarah bent down beside her and explained softly what the truth was. As the words reached Maya's ears, her lips opened in disbelief. Tears filled her eyes. She wasn't alone anymore. She wasn't helpless. Her mother had left her something far more powerful than she ever imagined. Safety, hope, and a chance at a future. People in the bank whispered, amazed by what they had just seen. Benjamin, famous for being arrogant, was now gently helping Maya gather her things. He offered her food, water, and promised to assign his best advisors to protect her interests until a proper guardian could be found. Maya nodded, still overwhelmed, holding tightly onto the card that had just transformed her life. It was still daytime, sunlight sparkling through the high windows, but for Maya the world felt new, warmer, brighter, and finally safe. If this story touched your heart, please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps these powerful stories reach more people who need hope. Before the story ends, please comment below. What would you do if you discovered a miracle when you least expected it? As Maya walked out of the Grand Crest Bank later that afternoon, stepping into the golden daylight with a small smile forming for the first time in years, she realized something deep. The world could be mean. The world could be cold, but sometimes hidden in the most unexpected places, there were gifts left behind by those who loved us. Gifts powerful enough to change everything. And that day, Maya carried hers close to her heart, knowing her life was no longer defined by fear but by possibility.